By definition, inspiration is the process of being mentally encouraged to do something creative. So this basically means finding something that inspires you to create another something. Now that seems pretty easy. Wrong. If you are an interior designer, you know that it can also be very hard. The base of all design is inspiration. You probably already know this. Inspiration helps us to create things or spaces that evoke feelings and spaces that have a soul. But where can we find inspiration to create spaces like this? The easy answer is everywhere and anywhere. Guys, for years I thought that inspiration can only be retrieved from one source, and for me that was Pinterest. Yeah, probably you too. And also for years I thought that you only needed inspiration when you were about to create a design. Today, for me, getting inspiration is like taking a shower. I do it every single day, or at least I try to. And although sometimes I do get inspiration from scrolling on social media, oftentimes I get more anxiety from doing this. Instead, I do quite a few different things to get inspiration for my projects and for my daily activities. Having as many sources of inspiration at my fingerprints is what ultimately has unleashed my creativity. And if you have ever thought that you are not a creative person, you might want to check this video up here. But I have to say that probably the main reason why I am always looking for inspiration is because I am a designer and I want to create the most beautiful spaces. However, I have also implemented inspiration in many other sectors of my life. And I can give you an example. A few months back, I was trying to change my diet to eat a little bit more healthy. But I wasn't personally motivated to eat salads and vegetables. So what I did is that I started to get inspired from delicious and very aesthetic looking and colorful dishes that were healthy as well. And this for sure motivated me to change my diet, and it really encouraged me to eat healthier because I was inspired by all these beautiful dishes. So for anything that you want to create or do, either that is making some good food or making a design or planning a trip or trying out a new sport, finding some really good inspiration is very, very important. So anyways, back to design. I think that we can all agree that finding or getting design inspiration is really the key to a great design. But it's also a crucial part of finding your voice as an interior designer. Finding the styles that your eyes are drawn to the most and starting to develop your personal design aesthetic is another factor that is very important, which can be done through the inspiration research. So now to the good stuff. I'm gonna give you some sources where I am constantly looking and searching for inspiration. So guys, I have to tell you that sitting in front of my computer, which is right here, and trying to find some good inspiration is something that has never worked out for me, which is why I need to get out. And I'm not saying that you should book a flight to Greece where you think you're gonna find inspiration. I know that people do that these days, but we don't have time to go to Greece. So instead, what I do is that I walk on the streets of my city. One place that I love to go is fashion stores and clothing stores. I get a lot of inspiration from the colors, the textures, the combinations, the fabrics that fashion designers use. And I also get inspiration from how the interiors of those clothing stores are designed. Another very inspiring source for me is architecture. Here in Vancouver, we have some really amazing, beautiful, stunning architecture. We have a lot of historical buildings, but we also have buildings like this, We have a lot of modern architecture and very crazy designs, which I think is a challenge to traditional design, and it's very, very inspiring. I like to search for inspiration in interior design as well. I find that looking at colors, materials, and layouts can help me find my own personal style and the way that I want interior spaces to look like. Now, paying attention to lighting is also very important, because if there is something that you definitely don't want to get wrong in interior design, is the lighting. So I like to observe whether I'm going to a restaurant, whether I'm at the mall. Everywhere I go, I try to look at the lighting and how many layers of lighting were implemented in that specific space. When you are looking for inspiration, just looking is not enough. Fortunately or unfortunately, our human brain, our human mind is very unreliable, which means that we forget stuff even when we don't want to forget stuff. That is why taking pictures of your inspiration is very, very important. Whenever you have a picture of your inspiration, you feel it closer to you. And another thing that I would also recommend is doing a quick sketch, because it can generate some very interesting ideas. Guys, finding inspiration is really just one step into the creative process. After that, we have to actually develop a concept for our interior space, which is why we create the mood boards and the material boards and all the design boards for our clients. This type of boards will actually start to transform your inspiration into a tangible design. I like to create boards and make sure that my inspiration is being represented as I want it to be. Another very useful way to start your concept development is by sketching your ideas on a paper. Although computer software is great, I feel like when you are in the early stages of your design process, sketching your ideas makes you have a sort of different connection with the space, and it challenges you in a very different way. The first step for finding inspiration is to not see things, but rather look at them. There's actually a difference, and try not only to look, but look closer and look for the little details. By doing this, you will start to realize that certain colors and shapes and materials evoke very different emotions and feelings and senses. So you will also start to realize that design can also be felt, but not only seen. Second tip is pretty simple, but it's very effective, and that is to look at the work of the designers that you admire. You could get some really solid inspiration just by looking at other people's work. And this can also help you to decide whether you like some styles or you dislike them. It will also help you shape the path into your own personal design style and what your preferences in the design world are like. The third tip is to become hyper aware of your surroundings. So this is very similar to tip number one. But what I'm trying to say is that if you do not look careful enough at everything that's surrounding you, you can be missing on some really great sources of inspiration. If you start paying attention to very simple things, either that's the design that's on the cereal box, to the design that the bathroom of the mall has, you will realize that finding inspiration can be actually very easy. Doing this will also open your minds to other types of design that can be very helpful for you and that you can grow some sort of interest in. I'll give you an example. If you start to get into the world of graphic design, just a little by little, either you self-learn it or you watch YouTube videos or whatever it is, You can even create your own graphic content for social media, for example, or you can create a logo for yourself. Another example that applies to me is that I started to become interested in web design, and I am attempting to create my own website myself, because this is something that I really like to explore. It's the world of design and I want to do it my way. So you see how the fact that we are interior designers does not mean that we have to be limited to interior design. I don't know if this happens to you. Maybe it's just me and I'm crazy, but the fact that I love interior spaces does not mean that I don't appreciate other types of design. Like whenever I see stunning architecture, I'm always taking pictures. Even if I'm like scrolling on social media and I see like a graphic design account and I see that it's just beautiful, stunning, I will follow them. Anyway, these were some of the ways that I get inspiration from. Literally guys, everywhere and anywhere. Like there's no limits. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, like this video. It does really help me out a lot. And I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.